How's going, guys? Welcome to the channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto got banished and had two Amber Gems Bloodline in Steven Universe? Part 5. Huge shout out to Ryu Kotei for this story. If you wants to see awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get into the video. Konohagakure. Night had fallen as Tsunade was preparing to head home after finally taking care of the most hated enemy of all the Kages, paperwork. She was about to get up from her desk when a plume of smoke erupted before her and saw a turtle after the smoke had cleared. This a really bad time for any sudden surprises, Tsunade threatened, as for once she didn't have leftover work for tomorrow. "I bear a message from Guy and his team," said the turtle as it reached inside its shell and pulled out a scroll. "I believe that you should really check it out." The blonde took the scroll and opened it before her eyes widened in pure shock at the news before her. "We found him!" Beach City, Crystal Temple. Naruto was staring up at the stars of the night sky as he mindlessly plucked the guitar strings in deep thought. What do I do? Naruto thought as the question of whether or not to return to Konohagakure had kept haunting him throughout the entire day. Do I stay or do I go? "I'd stay here if I were you," said Kurama from inside Naruto's mind. "Why help a place that treated you like garbage all because of something out of your control? You could always lead Bloodstone and the Akatsuki to the more dangerous parts of the temple. It's a win-win." "I don't think that would be a good idea, Kurama," said Minato's voice. "Even if both Bloodstone and the Akatsuki don't even go near Konoha, everyone here in Beach City will be in danger." "Oh, what do you know?" Kurama argued back towards the Yondaime Hokage. "You sealed me inside of your son and thought he'd be seen as a hero, but instead the village treated him like crap because they're too dumb to not see the difference between the jailed and jailer. If I were to decide, let Konoha be burned to the ground for its ignorance and stupidity." "Don't be like that, Kurama," Kushina yelled towards the fox. "There are still people in Konoha that care for Naruto. Iruka, the other rookies, Konohamaru and his friends, Tuchi and I am, Tsunade." "Okay," Kurama admitted. "So there's like 20-some people that are not complete ass-kissers, big deal. What about the other 90-some%? The same 90-some that will treat Naruto like that damnable Uchiha brat once he steps just 1 foot inside the village that also happen to be most of those who abused your son." "Please calm down," said Amber as her voice entered the fray. "This mindless arguing will get us nowhere but giving Naruto a massive aneurysm. Besides, this is his decision to make, as all we could do is give him guidance and support. Naruto is considering the pros and cons of both decisions, and even though both Bloodstone and the Akatsuki are major threats, we cannot rush his decision as it could alter his very life." "Thanks, Amber," Naruto said as the voices in his head was starting to give him a small headache. Since coming into contact with everyone 3 years ago, Naruto set up a small mental link to both of his parents and Amber, and had talked to them for guidance and advice. Their advice had greatly helped Naruto with some of his solo training and other problems the blonde had faced. Naruto continued to look at the night sky as Amber had made a point with her statement, the pros and cons of both decisions. Should Naruto stay in Beach City, whatever few friends he had in Konoha could end up getting killed by Bloodstone, as the evil gem would show no mercy. Also, if by chance Naruto's location was revealed, Beach City could end up being attacked by either Bloodstone, the Akatsuki, or even both, and causing so many deaths. Their deaths would be on my hands, as I would have lured both groups here, Naruto thought as he continued to pluck the guitar strings. Aside from the people his birth mother had mentioned, Naruto had never really made any lasting bonds with anyone from Konohagakure, and a part of him did want the place to suffer for what they had done to him. But that would only be a hollow victory, the blonde thought as he let out a sigh. But that's not me either. I'd never do something like that for the sake of revenge. But should Naruto go back to Konohagakure, he would be able to keep Beach City safe from the destruction at the price of Naruto's happiness. The villagers who once saw him as a monster would turn around and worship like some kind of god, like the hypocrites they were. Shops giving him the best quality wares, shinobi offering to be private tutors, girls lining up to be with him. That thought then made him think of Pearl and the others. What would happen to them? Naruto thought as he imagined himself getting forced away from his family while they would be discriminated. Many others would want to know how the power of the crystal gems would work, including power-hungry diplomats if not just Orochimaru, and even try to obtain such a power for themselves. Everyone would be in danger, Naruto thought as he angrily brought his hands to his face, and it would be my fault. Letting out another sigh, Naruto continued to stare at the stars and he couldn't help but feel envious of them. People saw the beauty that they bring. The stars just have to be there and just continue on through their life cycle until falling out of existence, being an inspiration to those who see them. Why can't I be just like the stars? Naruto sadly thought of how stars just didn't do anything but live and yet people see the beauty in them. Maybe either Gamabunta or Okina might be able to help me tomorrow, Naruto thought as he decided to get some shut-eye in hopes of maybe some rest will help him make a decision. Morning had arrived as Naruto and Steven were on the beach near the temple with the crystal gems and the shinobi on the temple's porch. Ready? Naruto asked Steven as he received a nod. Both teens bit their thumbs and added enough chakra as they performed the needed seals. Summoning Jutsu! Large plumes of smoke erupted as the smoke soon cleared to reveal Gamabunta and Okinayama standing massively before the group. It is nice to meet you again, Steven, said the giant lion as he used his tail to lift Steven and place him onto the sand while Gamabunta did the same for Naruto with his tongue. To what do I owe the young cub? Actually, Naruto wanted to talk to you about something, Steven said as he felt a little winded from the summoning. The shinobi were amazed at the size of the lion as it appeared that they were looking at the sun due to the boss summon's fur and mane. What do you wish to talk about, Naruto? Okinayama asked as he saw Gamabunta. Does it involve Gamabunta, Toad's summoner? Actually, Naruto admitted as he felt a little intimidated by the lion. I need your advice on something. The blonde motioned towards the shinobi as he then said. You see, I was told about some powerful people that could either attack Konohagakure or Beach City depending on what I decide. I thought I could talk to both you and Gamabunta on what I should do. Should I stay in Beach City, or should I go back to Konoha? Are you talking about the Akatsuki? Gamabunta asked as he then received a nod from Naruto. Well, I would suggest to try and lay low by traveling all over this place, but that will only last for so long as sooner or later you will end up running into them. My servants had also met some of the summons that can be summoned by one of their members, Pain, Okinayama said as he laid down on the sand. They have told me if they saw the eyes of those unnatural beasts. They possess a powerful Kekkei Genkai known as the Rinnegan, a unique ocular power that the Rikudo Sennin once possessed. I actually thought it to be just a legend, but to see those eyes myself through the crystal ball, it does cause concern for what could be. However, I also believe that there is also another threat you are also thinking of, am I right? Naruto nodded as he then said, Yes. That other threat is an evil crystal gem by the name of Bloodstone that my ancestor and crystal gem warrior, Amber, had defeated once before. Now there is someone who now possesses Bloodstone's power, and that person could come after me since I possess Amber's power. With both threats possibly coming after me, I could end up putting Beach City in danger if I stay. What? Cried a familiar voice as everyone looked to see Jenny and her friends, Connie and her parents, Lars and Sadie, and Mayor Dewey running towards them with Jenny rushing towards Naruto. Are you seriously thinking about leaving us? Well, Naruto said as he was trying to find the right words. It is possible that I may have to since I could end up becoming a target for some powerful people. Those people will have to deal with us before they ever think of getting you, Mayor Dewey said before he heard a low growl from the giant lion. The people young Naruto speaks of are far beyond what you could imagine, Okinayama said as he reached inside his mane and pulled out a crystal ball. After setting the sphere before the group, the lion applied chakra to reveal many images of different people wearing black cloaks that were adorned with red cloud designs and said, The Akatsuki is an organization of powerful criminals that would not show mercy to those who get in their way. Even with the advanced weapons that this place possesses, these powerful shinobi could end up decimating all in their path. Everyone saw the destruction that was brought on by different members of the Akatsuki as fear crept into their skins. They're brutal, said Buck as he saw a silver-haired man kill another man just by stabbing himself, while a red-eyed man burned another man with black fire. But wouldn't Naruto also be putting himself in danger because of the Akatsuki? Mayor Dewey argued. And besides, why would Naruto go back to a place that even treated their trash better than him? I mean, sure that a few people there that were Naruto's friends, but what's stopping the rest of Konohagakure from handing him over to that group or even just making the boy's life worse than before? While you do bring up a point, Gamabunta said as Okinayama placed the crystal ball back in his mane. I will say that thanks to events due to Naruto's banishment, the villagers will think twice about what they do. I still do have doubts about some of them, but all I can do is provide advice for the Gaki, as I'm sure he would like to say his goodbyes if he decides to leave. Do not worry, said Guy as he went into his nice guy pose. I promise you that Naruto will be in the best protection as he would be with his true friends. I also promise that should Konohagakure betray Naruto, even after dealing with the Akatsuki, Gaara said as sand began to float around him, I will show no mercy this time. Mayor Dewey stepped back a bit in fear and discomfort, but he could tell that Naruto would be well protected under their care. So Naruto? Okina asked as he looked at said blonde. Do you have what you were looking for? Not really, Naruto admitted with a sigh. But I will give this some thought. Thanks anyway. The giant lion nodded with a smile before he saw Connie approaching him with wonder in her eyes. I take it you are Connie, correct? Okinayama asked as he saw the girl nod slowly in awe. My son had told me how you are kind towards our summoner, and you admire his many tales and talents. I can easily tell that you will be perfect for Steven, and for that, I will bestow to you my thanks for being friends with both my son and our summoner. I shall grant you a special gift as a token of my thanks. The great lion reached into his mane and pulled out a small necklace that was adorned with beautiful golden gemstones. This necklace was crafted by my great-grandmother, who was once a powerful Hierocosphinx that was once believed to have traveled to the very sun itself to collect those gemstones. Okinayama said as the gems on the necklace shimmered in the light. That necklace grants protection to those who wear it. The kind of protection is unsure, but the necklace is a powerful artifact among the lions, so be careful with its power. Thank you, said Connie as she put the necklace on. I'll try and take good care of it. Okina smiled and gave the girl a nod of appreciation. I think it's best for us to go, said Gamabunta as Okinayama stood up and lightly shook the sand off of his fur. I am sure that Naruto will need some time to make his decision. The giant toad looked at Naruto and said, Just be careful with this decision, as this could change your very life. Okinayama looked at Naruto and said, Whatever you decide, Naruto, you will always have the support of not just the lions, but all of your friends here in Beach City. May the sun gods be with you, young cubs. The two titanic animals vanished in plumes of smokes as Naruto rubbed the back of his head. That did not go as I had thought, the blonde thought as he was actually hoping to at least get some sort of definite answer. Guess I'm really on my own with this. Not exactly, Sonny, said Jenny as she, Buck, and Sour Cream approached the blonde. We'll be right behind you 100%. Of course, Buck added as he looked at Naruto. You're the coolest guy around here next to Steven. I'd rave to that, Sour Cream said as he smirked. You'll always be one of us. Yeah, said Sadie as she approached Naruto. You've really been a great help back at the Big Donut. Even though he won't admit it, Lars will miss you, as the shop will be quiet without you. Naruto smirked as he saw the support everyone was giving him and knew that these people had done so much for him by being the friends that he needed. I'm so lucky to find people who care about me and not just something else, the blonde thought as his smirk became a small smile. I would forgive myself if they got hurt because of me. Thanks, you guys, said Naruto as he turned around. I need to be alone at the moment. The blonde suddenly shape-shifted into a fox and dashed away, ignoring everyone calling him out. Steven was about to try and follow Naruto, but Garnet placed a hand on the young boy's shoulder with a look that told Steven that wasn't anything anyone could do. This was Naruto's decision, and his alone. Say, Steven, Tenten asked as she approached the boy. You said you wanted to know what your element is, right? Everyone quickly looked at the weapons specialist as she brought out a small square piece of paper. What's paper have to do with that elemental stuff? Lars asked as he eyed the piece of paper. He may not know anything about being a ninja aside from what he has seen in movies, but since these people were from the same place as Naruto, who knew what that little piece of paper could do? This paper is actually made from a tree that's been grown and fed with chakra, said Tenten as she placed a piece of paper in Steven's hands. It reacts to chakra, and depending on what kind of reaction the paper has to your chakra, that shows your elemental affinity. Fire chakra causes the paper to turn into ash, while wind chakra cuts the paper in two. Lightning chakra causes the paper to crinkle up, earth chakra causes the paper to crumble away into dirt, and water chakra causes the paper to get wet and damp. Most Jonin ninja have already mastered at least two elements, but there are Kekkei Jinkais that allow one to naturally possess a third element due to the combination of any of the 5 base elements. Steven looked at the slip of paper before looking at Tenten with question. Go on, the girl egged on. Try it. Everyone watched in deathly anticipation as Steven closed his eyes, both the gems and the citizens of Beach City silently praying for Steven's element. Water or anything but lightning, Greg thought as he could imagine the water fights with his son without the risk of getting zapped. Please be fire, Amethyst and Jenny thought with separate hopes and different reasons. Not water, Sour Cream thought as he remembered the last time water was involved with Steven and his friends. We don't need a repeat of that event. Please don't be Earth, Sadie, Buck, and Mayor Dewey thought with slight fear in their eyes. Beach City does not need earthquakes. Please be a safe element, Connie and her parents thought. Can't have Steven/Connie getting burned or electrocuted. The shinobi watched as Steven focused with all his might until the paper had its reaction to Steven's chakra. Interesting, said Tenten with a smirk on her face. Beach City, beach. Naruto was walking through the further parts of the beach with his mind focused on whether or not he should return to Konohagakure. One part of his mind was screaming out the obvious answer of going back to Konoha in order to keep Beach City safe, but another part of his mind was saying to stay in Beach City as Konoha was never a home to him since the beginning. Damn it! Naruto cursed as he slammed a paw on the sand. What do I do? Do I go back to that prison, or do I stay here and risk the lives of everyone who truly cared about me? The blonde jumped onto a large rock nearby and looked over the edge to see a golden fox looking back at him in the water. What do you think I should do? Naruto asked his reflection. Should I stay here where I know there are people who love me, or should I go back to my former home where most of the people there once treated me like yesterday's garbage? A part of me wants to go and help Konoha deal with Bloodstone and the Akatsuki, but another part wants me to stay here as a huge majority of Konoha never even treated me with a splinter's worth of kindness. Naruto knocked a small stone off, causing the water to ripple before he saw a familiar face. Lapis! Naruto said as he jumped around to face her, but instead fell into the water. Lapis focused her power to bring a water sphere encase Naruto, and gently let him onto the rock in front of her. Naruto quickly shape-shifted back into his normal form, ready for a fight, since the last time he encountered Lapis Lazuli was that he ended up fighting himself. He was about to summon his claws when Lapis tenderly looked into his eyes. Lapis began as she painfully looked away. I'm sorry for what I did. Naruto blinked a few times in confusion before Lapis then said, I was able to return home thanks to you and Steven, but when I got there, it was so desolate, so empty. I was the only one there as I tried to search for the others. I only found the messages the sages had left, messages about how everyone save a small handful had become corrupted and broken. I spent some time thinking about what you told me before I left. I remember, said Naruto as he couldn't forget that day. Flashback. Naruto and Steven stood before Lapis as her dark blue eyes shone through the dark, starlit sky and wings made of water formed from her back. Thank you so much, Steven! Lapis cheered before she turned her attention towards Naruto. And thank you, Naruto! For what? Naruto asked as he was confused. I disobeyed my mom when she told me not to try and climb the tower. True, but when I watched you try and climb the tower I saw something, Lapis said as she looked deeply in Naruto's eyes. Even now, I still see it. The pain, the misery, and the abuse that is hidden within your past. Naruto painfully cringed as he easily remembered what the gem was talking about. The looks the villagers would give him, parents treating him like the plague, and the adults beating him up for believing him to be Kurama. It was painful as he has had nightmares about those days, being alone and unloved. You don't have to say it, Lapis said with a tender look. It's too painful, as your eyes have shown me that you have seen things that many do not. Naruto sadly nodded and said, Yeah. You also remind me of someone I once met that's just like me. Could you tell me about him? Lapis asked as she created a few pedestals and sat on one of them with Naruto and Steven following her example. Naruto then began to tell Lapis about how Gaara was a Jinchuriki like him, and how Setsuna Ninja had once believed that he had to keep killing others just to prove his existence, with Gaara nearly killing Lee on a couple of occasions. The blonde had mentioned that he could only guess the kind of life Gaara had, but he knew that it had to have been similar to his. Naruto then also told them about how he would wonder what things could have been like if the roles were reversed, with himself as a psychotic murderer and monster, while Gaara might have been the one person to positively change his life. As she listened, Lapis began to wonder about how her life has been. She was turned into a mirror and forced to reveal whatever the person had asked for, had somehow gotten her gem cracked, and all the while hating the other crystal gems for what they have done. She had seen a few of her friends become corrupted and broken in the past, but nothing was done about it, as not even rose quartz could have helped them. Have I been thinking about the crystal gems all wrong? Lapis thought to herself as she listened to how Gaara was now a good friend of Naruto's even after Setsuna Ninja had tried to kill him before. Could I just be acting off of my anger and hate? After Naruto finished telling the two about Gaara, Lapis then stood up and looked at the stars. I see that even you humans can have a life as difficult as mine, Lapis said as she spread her wings. I'll give back the ocean. I need to go home now. Why leave? Naruto asked as he and Steven stood up from their seats. Why not stay here and help us? I can vouch for you and Dash. No, Naruto, Lapis said as he continued to look at the stars. I need to go home, where I belong, but I'll always think of the two of you, as even though you are with the crystal gems, I can see you two as my friends. Goodbye. Lapis, wait! Naruto called out to the gem, but was too late, as she had launched herself into the deep void of space before the tower of water began to fall apart. Naruto looked at the trail of water as he and Steven began to fall towards Earth, as one word had escaped his mouth. Lapis! Flashback end. You know you could have brought me and Steven down to Earth before you had left, Naruto said as he lightly glared at the gem before him. We could have gotten killed since we're both still human. You both would have survived as long as your gems don't get damaged, Lapis countered with a knowing tone in her voice. I've seen it happen before many times. Anyway, Lapis said as she decided to change the subject. I couldn't help but overhear what you were saying. Care to give me the full details? Naruto thought it over a bit before he decided to tell Lapis everything about what was going on. The gem brought a hand to her chin as she actually remembers Bloodstone, as he was once a kind pacifist who loved art before becoming a twisted being that had murdered other gems to show everyone his power. If it were up to me, I'd let that old home deal with their problems and just leave you out all of this, Lapis said with a slightly cold tone before her eyes softened. But I would want to protect those that I care about, even if they're from a place that I hated. I would protect you and Steven with my very life, even if it means having to deal with those three. I care for all of my friends. Naruto thought for a moment before letting out a content sigh. He had made his decision. Say, Naruto, Lapis asked as she suddenly found her dress interesting. Can I ask you for a small favor? Beach City, Crystal Temple. Night had arrived and Naruto entered the front door to find Garnet, Pearl, and Amethyst waiting for him. Hey, Naruto said sheepishly as he saw the trio looking at him. Did I miss anything? Just Steven discovering his two elements, Amethyst said with a smirk. Earth and water. Really, those two? The blonde said with shock. I was actually hoping he'd get wind like me. I can tell you're in good spirits, Garnet said as her sunglasses flashed from the light in the room. I take it you've made your decision? Yeah, Naruto said with determination in his eyes. Time for a little trip to Konohagakure. Are you sure? Pearl asked with concern. We are talking about a place that a majority of the people there never treated you with kindness. I know, said Naruto with a stern face. But even if they don't find me here, Both Bloodstone and the Akatsuki will eventually find me and endanger everyone's lives. I also have friends back in the village that I still care about after these years. I wouldn't forgive myself if I just abandoned them." "If you are absolutely sure about this," Garnet said with a smile on her face, "then who am I to say no about a decision like this?" "Well, you are my mother," Naruto said with a small chuckle. "But there's also something else that you three should know." Confused, the three gems watched Naruto nod towards the door before their eyes widened at the sight of Lapis walking through their front door. "Lapis Lazuli!" Beach City Docks. Naruto was at the docks with the other crystal gems as the Konoha shinobi and the Suna siblings got on Yellowtail's boat. "Are you sure that you don't want to return to Konoha with us?" Tenten asked with hope in her voice. Ever since they learned that Naruto decided to return to the elemental countries, they were overjoyed as their friend would be coming home. But their joy turned to slight disappointment as Naruto said that he needed to take care of a few things in Beach City before going back. "I told you guys already," Naruto said with a small smile. "I have a few things to take care of before I can go back to Konoha. I can't just up and leave when I have some unfinished businesses." "No, I guess you cannot," said Guy as he placed a hand on the blonde's shoulder as tears were running down his face. "Your flames of youth have only become much more brighter than what Lee and I could only dream of." "Of course, Guy-sensei," said Lee as he too had tears running down his face. "Naruto-san's youth cannot be rivaled, and so we must train so that our own flames could be just as bright." "Lee! Guy-sensei! Lee! Guy-sensei! Come on, you two!" Temari yelled from the boat. "We don't have much time for the both of you to give everyone here mental scars. We gotta go!" Gaara approached Naruto as his Konoha escort got on the boat. "It has been great to see you again after so long," the Kazekage said with a small smile. "You will always be welcomed in Sunagakure should you ever visit." "I'll keep that in mind, Gaara," Naruto said as Gaara hugged him before getting on the boat. As the sea vessel sailed away from the docks, Naruto rushed towards the edge and waved towards the shinobi. "Goodbye, you guys!" Naruto yelled as his friends returned the wave with one of their own. "I'll be seeing you guys later!" After Yellowtail's boat vanished over the horizon, Naruto turned to see the other gems and Steven looking at him. "It's time we talked about Lapis," said Garnet with a serious tone in her voice. Naruto chuckled as he remembered the little conversation last night. Flashback. "Lapis Lazuli!" the three gems shouted at the sight of said gem entering the door. The crystal gems were about to summon their weapons, but Naruto got in between them and Lapis with his arms stretched out. "Wait a minute!" Naruto said as he really wanted to avoid a fight after everything today. "She's cool!" "Oh, she's cool alright," said Amethyst as she summoned her whip. "She'll be ice cold once we're through with her." Naruto looked as Pearl and Garnet summoned their weapons before he decided to stand his ground and summoned his claws. "You know it's really rude to attack an invited guest," Naruto roared out as he really didn't want to do this, but if he must. "You invited her?" Pearl said with shock in her voice. "After what she did?" "Yes, I did," Naruto said as he was seriously hoping that Steven wasn't around at the moment. "Now if you guys could just calm down and let Lapis explain herself." Garnet looked at Naruto before taking a quick glance at Lapis. The gem got out of her fighting stance, but she still had her gauntlets out, and said, "Talk." "What?" Pearl said with surprise on both hers and Amethyst's faces. "Are you serious?" "Yes," Garnet said bluntly before she looked at Lapis. "Talk." The blue gem nodded as she tenderly looked at the trio and said, "I'm sorry for what I've done. I just wanted to go home so badly after so many years trapped inside that mirror." Lapis then went on to tell the trio about what she had told Naruto about what she had found when she had reached her home. The trio sadly cringed as what Lapis had mentioned was true about the fate of the other gems. Lapis then moved from behind Naruto and kneeled towards Pearl, Garnet, and Amethyst as she then said, "I know it won't justify what I have done, but I truly am sorry for what I have done." Seeing the skeptical looks on the three gems, Lapis lowered her head and said, "Please, do whatever you three seem fit for my punishment, and I will gladly accept it without hesitation." "Lapis, wait a minute," said Naruto as he tried to approach the blue gem, but a look from Garnet had stopped him in his tracks. I'll allow Amethyst and Pearl to give you what they want, I'll deal with you myself later, Garnet said before she looked at Naruto while Lapis brought her head up in curiosity. We'll talk about this later, understood? Sure thing, Mom, Naruto said as he recognized both the tone and the look his mother was sending him a message that he'll be having a lecture. I would have to be the most insane person to refuse anything from that look, Naruto thought as a chill ran down his spine. Pow! Lapis fell to the floor after taking a punch from Amethyst, much to the surprise of both Naruto and Pearl. Amethyst/Amine! Both Naruto and Pearl said in shock as they both checked on Lapis. What? The purple gem said incredulously. She said that she'll take any form of punishment without question from the three of us, and I think that a simple punch from me would make us even. As Pearl went off into a lecture towards Amethyst, Naruto helped Lapis to her feet and said, Sorry about that. You're not hurt too bad, are you? I'm fine, said the blue gem as a violet circle formed around her eye. I'm just a bit shocked that it wasn't more than a punch. Considering that this is Amine we're talking about, Naruto said as he saw said gem giving his girlfriend a shrug before going to check on Steven. She'll probably mess with you like she does the rest of us. Just be careful with how you react. I'll keep that in mind, the blue gem said as Pearl soon approached her. What do you have in mind for me, Pearl? Well, Pearl began with a serious tone in her voice. Unlike Amethyst's barbaric idea of a punishment, you are going to help me around the temple. That means cleaning, cooking, keeping Steven safe, cleaning up after any of Amethyst's pranks, and doing laundry. Now let's get that looked at. After Pearl and Lapis left, Naruto let out a sigh before deciding to just fall down onto the couch as he was just too tired to try and get to his room. What a day. Flashback end. Naruto looked at Garnet as his mother gave him a stern look. Pearl has already told me of what she and Amethyst had already planned for Lapis. The gem began as the blonde before her slightly stiffened up at her tone. I, however, am going to keep a close eye on her and let you be responsible for her. If she steps out of line, I'll punish you instead of her. She did say that you would vouch for her. That is right, Naruto said with a slight cringe on his face. But I will take whatever punishment if it means that you three will give her another chance. The blonde then looked around to find that Lapis was absent as he asked. Where is Lapis, by the way? Ocean, Yellowtail's boat. Gaara was looking out towards the sea while the others were down below, and Yellowtail was steering the boat. If you are here to kill me, Gaara said as he felt a presence nearby, I should warn you about who you are going to be dealing with. You have nothing to fear, Gaara, said a young voice as said person looked to see a young girl with blue skin and dark blue hair and eyes wearing a sea blue dress. Naruto has told me about you and how you're a Jinchuriki like him. Gaara's face remained stoic, save for his eyes slightly getting wider, as he looked over the girl. He noted how soft and delicate the girl's skin looked and how silky her hair appeared to be. The girl's sparkling blue eyes and simple smile really drew Gaara's attention to her. I'm Lapis Lazuli, the blue girl said with a slight curtsy. I'm sure Naruto has told you about me. I do recall him mention about a Lapis Lazuli and the trouble she has caused before, the Kazekage bluntly said. I assumed that would be you. Lapis nodded as she said, I'm not proud of what I've done because of my pain and anger, but now I'm hoping to at least seek their forgiveness for the time being. I know of the same pain, Gaara said as he looked at his right hand. I too am not proud of the path I had taken once before. I am still thankful towards Naruto for saving me from the dark life I had once lived. Yeah, Lapis said as she briefly looked away. He is quite charismatic for a fool. But sometimes the fool knows much more than a king, Gaara sagely said as Lapis looked at him. The blue gem nodded as something on her back began to glow. Lapis reached where the light was coming from before the light vanished as she then had a ring in her hand. The ring was a silver blue with a navy blue lapis lazuli gemstone and an inscription in an odd writing encircling it. It's a special and powerful protection charm, Lapis said as she pointed to the inscription. The writing around the stone means life anew and it only works as long as you wear it, so please be careful with it. Lapis placed the ring on Gaara's left ring finger, and before the Kazekage could say anything, the blue gem gave him a slight kiss on the scar on his forehead and said, "I hope we can meet again." Gaara suddenly blushed from the kiss Lapis had given him as he watched her jump into the ocean, revealing the teardrop-shaped lapis lazuli in her back between the shoulder blades. Hearing footsteps approaching, Gaara laced his fingers that allowed him to hide the ring as he couldn't use his sand armor since he didn't have his gourd. "You alright?" Temari asked with concern of her face. "Yes, Temari," the Kazekage coolly lied as he stared out where Lapis had dove. "Just watching a beautiful sight." Underwater, Lapis was using her powers to propel herself through the water towards Beach City, as Garnet had allowed her to do this one favor on her own before she would be under surveillance. She didn't have the heart to tell Gaara what awaited him back in Sunagakure, and after seeing him for the first time, something inside of her was telling her to protect him from any form of danger. That ring should be enough to protect him, Lapis thought to herself as she remembered how her vision had showed her Gaara facing off against a man wearing a cloak adorned with red clouds riding on a weird white bird. Kanehigakure. Tsunade was sitting in her office as Kakashi and Team 10 were standing before her. "Alright," the Hokage started as she laced her fingers together. "I had received a message from Team Guy about Naruto's whereabouts. Believe it or not, they found him at a place outside the elemental countries called Beach City." "No way," Ino said with shock on not just her face, but her teammates as well. "So is Team Guy going to be bringing him here?" "Unfortunately no," Tsunade said, getting a disheartened look from the shinobi before her. "However, I received a message from Naruto via Toad Summon that he will be coming back to help us deal with Bloodstone and protect his home from not just him but the Akatsuki, as there would be no doubt that either party may end up finding him." "Good to hear that Naruto still thinks about Konoha," Choji said with a grateful chuckle. "Actually," Tsunade said with a regretful sigh, "Naruto's message elaborated that he was talking about Beach City as he had revealed that Konoha was more of a prison than a home to him." "You're not saying he's going rogue, are you?" Ino asked with a completely slapped look on her face. "What about everyone that cares about him?" "He still cares about us," Tsunade countered with a slight edge to her voice. "He explained that he didn't even want to come back because of the hell he had gone through here in Konoha, and I honestly cannot blame him as I was able to see his medical records and all of his sabotaged report cards. I'm pretty sure that there's another underlying reason about his reluctance. And I'm guessing that underlying reason is that once he sets one foot inside Konoha, he'll be treated like royalty by the very people who had actually put him through that hell themselves," Shikamaru lazily said as the amount of talking about Naruto being the Yandame's son had been nothing but a troublesome headache during the past 3 years. "He'll be treated just like Sasuke was, as if nothing had ever happened." "You're right," Tsunade said. "I wouldn't even blame him if he decided to turn his personality completely around and treat everyone with almost the same amount of crap he was given. Any normal person would have either committed suicide or even decided to help Konoha's enemies to destroy us if they were given the same life as Naruto's." "So what's the mission?" Asuma asked as he wanted to know where this was going. "Your mission will be to escort Naruto and his family back to Konoha," Tsunade said as she added. "His family actually consists of powerful warriors called the Crystal Gems." "Crystal Gems?" Choji asked with slight confusion. "Who are they?" "The Crystal Gems are actually warriors and protectors from the very cosmos itself that uses the power of the gems embedded into their bodies," Tsunade explained with a slight smile. "And believe it or not, Naruto is actually a descendant of one of their most strongest Crystal Gem who had also founded the Uzumaki clan." "You're joking, right?" Ino asked with shock and surprise. "Naruto is actually a Crystal Gem?" "That's right," Tsunade answered as she then leaned back on her chair. "Now, even though the Crystal Gems are capable of handling their own, you are still to protect them and escort them here, as Naruto's enemies could very well find him at any given moment. From the report Guy has given me, the Crystal Gems are capable of possessing an incredible amount of power, summoning weapons, regeneration, and even fusing with one another to create an even more powerful Crystal Gem." "Now hold on," Shikamaru said as he raised an eyebrow. "They can create an even more powerful Crystal Gem by fusing with each other? How does that even work?" "As mentioned in Team Guy's notes," Tsunade mentioned as the idea sounded completely preposterous without seeing it herself. 2 or more crystal gems perform an intricate dance with their gems synchronized with each other, and when the dance is completed, those who have participated in the ritual merge together into one incredibly powerful crystal gem that has its own personality. However, everyone stiffened up as it seems there was more about this unique ability. Pearl, one of the crystal gems that Team Guy has encountered, Tsunade said as she looked at the team, has mentioned that while the gem fusion is powerful, it cannot remain fused for too long before or the fusion would risk becoming unstable and eventually lose all sight of who they are, as she mentioned that this has only happened with a few fusions, Sugilite, Alexandrite, and another that she was very reluctant and very adamant about not mentioning. Any particular reason why she couldn't name the other fusion? Kakashi asked if there should be any other reason to even not mentioning another fusion's name. Pearl refused to give out any more information aside that this fusion is far more powerful than Sugilite, as it could easily lift her and toss her around like a ragdoll. Tsunade grimly said as she began to wonder about this particular fusion. Aside from that, this fusion seems to become out of control the moment it arrives, and there is only one way to stop it. Their leader, Garnet Gem, had mentioned that they won't even use that particular fusion even if their very lives depended on it. This fusion sounds pretty powerful, Asuma said as he wondered just how powerful this fusion could be. And pretty dangerous. And Naruto could possess such power? Choji asked as he remembered hearing about Naruto's condition. But what about his hands? A smirk from Tsunade had answered Choji's question as everyone was elated about the news. I can't believe that Naruto recovered his hands again, Ino said with joy as she remembered just how devastated Naruto was after learning that Sakura had smashed his hands into oblivion. I bet you're just as excited about this as we are, Kakashi-sensei, said Jonin, chuckled as he said. I am, as I'll be going with Team Asuma on this mission. But what about Sai and Sakura? Shikamaru asked as he was seriously hoping that neither one of them were coming with them. I only told them that I will be going on a mission of my own and to improve their skills during my absence, Kakashi answered. The Hokage had even agreed that if either of them were to accompany us on this mission, then Naruto would become less trusting when he sees Sakura or Sai. Asum nodded in agreement as the former root agent was already a handful with social situations due to having his emotions erased through Danzo's program. There was no need to make any more problems for Naruto. You are to prepare to leave in a few days, as Naruto had told me that he wanted a week to prepare for everything and take care of a few personal businesses, Tsunade said as the shinobi before her nodded in acceptance. Good luck. None of them had noticed a small mouse scurrying away through a crack in the wall. The small black creature ran out of the building and across the dirt until it reached a forest before entering, and ran across the grass until it came across a pale teen wearing a black shirt that had one sleeve longer than the other and black pants that had his midriff exposed. Why, hello, little one, said the teen as he unrolled a scroll before the mouse walking on it. You have something to tell me? The mouse soon melted onto the paper to reveal that it was made of ink, as writing soon appeared on the scroll. Interesting, the teen said as he read what the mouse had revealed. I must inform my friend about this. Ninja art, super beast scroll. The ink then moved around before rising off of the scroll in the form of a bird before the teen rolled up the scroll and gave it to the bird. After watching the bird leave, the teen then said, I wonder how Sakura will take the news. Beach City, Crystal Temple. Naruto was in his room as he had a backpack filled with some stuff he was taking with him sitting on his bed. After 3 long years, Naruto said as he sat on one of the wooden chairs with his guitar in hand. I'm going back to Konoha. I wonder how everyone else had changed. A week had passed and Naruto knew that whichever team Tsunade had sent to escort him to Konohagakure would be arriving soon. I just hope Sakura isn't with them, Naruto said as he rubbed the smooth surface of the guitar's face. Kami forbids Sasuke. I'm sure that they won't be with them, said Amethyst as Naruto fell out of his chair in fright. Amine, Naruto said as he got to his feet. How did you get in here? I thought I covered up that little puddle. I used the front door, Amethyst said as she pointed to the opening in Naruto's room that showed the living area outside of the temple. Garnet wanted me to check up on you and see if you were all ready. Naruto picked up the backpack before collecting his guitar as he said, I got everything packed and I'm as ready as I'll ever be. Come on, Nar, Amethyst said as she placed a hand on the blonde's arm. You'll be alright with us around and Garnet would make sure that no one messes with her son. Naruto let out a sigh as he said, I know, and I'm pretty sure no one would dare make Mom mad unless they have a death wish. It's just… Listen, Naruto, Amethyst said with a comforting smirk. Everything will be fine and we'll always be right behind you all the way. Naruto smiled a bit and gave Amethyst his thanks before the two of them left Naruto's room where the others were waiting with Steven having his backpack stuffed with things that Pearl had helped him gather. Are you ready? Garnet asked stoically as she already knew the answer. As I'll ever be, Naruto said as he gave his backpack a slight heft while tightening his grip on his guitar. Just really not looking forward to this trip. Greg looked at Steven uncomfortably as he said, I'm not really sure if Steven should be going on this trip as Guy had mentioned just how dangerous the elemental countries are. I'll be alright, Dad, Steven said with a smile as he had his cheeseburger backpack on his shoulders. Naruto said that Tsunade will be sending some shinobi to take us to Konoha. That's right, Naruto said as he remembered the message he received from Tsunade. Bachan's sending a well-trusted team along with one extra person. I'm just a bit concerned about who the extra could be. Guess we'll be seeing soon, said Lapis as she looked out the window to see a boat. Well, Naruto reluctantly said as he let out a sigh. Might as well go see them and tell them we're ready. Beach City docks. Naruto and the other gems made it to the docks to find that Yellowtail had just docked his boat and placed a small bridge that allowed him to walk safely over the water and onto the wooden docks. Hey Yellowtail-san, said Naruto as he approached the sailor. How was the trip? All right, the sailor said as his beard had a slight salty film from the sea water. I was hired to bring some people with me from your old home country. Finally! Cheered a familiar voice as a flash of red flashed by Naruto to see a large figure in red kissing the docks. I thought I would never see land again. This is just too troublesome, said a familiar voice as Naruto looked to see Shikamaru walking onto the docks with Ino and Asuma following. We had to deal with Choji's seasickness the whole way here and we'll have to deal with it again on the way back. Bad enough he puked a few times, Ino said with disgust in her voice and a shiver running up her spine. Hey guys, Naruto said with arms wide open as Team Asuma finally looked at him. Welcome to Beach City. Naruto, said Choji as he got to his feet and gave the blonde a big hug as a few cracks could be heard. It's so great to see you again. It's nice to see you again too, Naruto said before Choji let him go to give him some air. Damn, you definitely got stronger. I think you got rid of that kink in my back. So Lady Hokage wasn't lying, Ino said as she took one of Naruto's hands and looked at them. You really do have your hands back. I'm also guessing that those ambers show your heritage as a crystal gem, said Asuma as he pointed to the amber gems before getting a nod from the blonde. That's correct, said Pearl as she and the other gems approached the group. Naruto's a valued member of our team as he has helped protect this place and with some of the missions we have. I'm guessing you're the crystal gems we were told about, Asuma said as he received a nod from Pearl. I'm Asuma Sarutobi and these are my students, Shikamaru and Nara. What's up? Shikamaru lazily said without a care. Don't be fooled by his lazy attitude, Asuma continued with a small chuckle. He's actually the brains of the bunch considering his IQ is over 200. Anyway, this lovely lady is Ino Yamanaka. It's nice to meet you, said Ino as she studied Amethyst's fashion. I like that top of yours. Thanks, said Amethyst with a smirk on her face. I like that huge bug on your shoulder. UWH! Ino shrieked as she tried to swipe away the non-existent bug while Amethyst was laughing. Never gets old, Amethyst said as Ino soon realized that she was pranked. You'll never believe how many times I got Pearl with that. Great, Ino thought in annoyance, another Naruto. Last but not least, Asuma said as he placed a hand on Choji's shoulder. The muscle behind the group, Choji Akamichi. It's good to see some of Naruto's friends, Choji said with a smile. Any friend of Naruto's is a friend of mine. Glad to hear that, Choji, Naruto said with a smile. Guess it's my turn to do the introduction of my family, the Crystal Gems. I'll go ahead and start off with my Otuto, Stephen Quartz universe. Hi, Stephen said excitedly with a big smile as he looked at Choji and Shikamaru. Naruto told me so much about you too. Next up is my Nei-chan, Amethyst, said Naruto as Amethyst moved some of the bangs in her face. She can be a handful at times, but she's a really good friend. In a flash of light, Amethyst suddenly changed into a purple version of Naruto and said, You got nothing to worry about with me around, Databao. Databao? Choji asked in confusion at the small phrase. I don't know where she got that, Naruto said with annoyance before he cleared his voice. Anyway, guess I should introduce you guys to my girlfriend. Girlfriend? Asked the three Chunin as they saw Pearl wrap her hand in Naruto's before giving the blonde a quick kiss on the cheek. I'm Pearl, Gem said with a smile. And as Naruto had mentioned, we've been dating for a few years and I can't help but fall for that roguish charm of his. Roguish charms? Ino asked with disbelief. Him? Of course, Pearl answered with a slight smile. The way his blonde hair shines in the sun, his ocean blue eyes, his whisker marks, and don't get me started on his voice when he sings our song. Team Asuma watched in complete disbelief as Naruto and Pearl gave each other a quick kiss on the lips before Naruto separated and stood next to Lapis. This is Lapis Lazuli, said Naruto as Gem curtsied. She the latest addition to the team, so don't be too hard on her. I'm honored to meet a few friends that Naruto has, Lapis said with a slight bow. I'm still trying to make some amends for what I've done. Don't be so hard on yourself as you have to give these things time, Naruto said as he then waved towards Garnet. Last and certainly not least is our leader and my mom, Garnet Gem. I never would have thought that you would finally find a mother, Naruto, said a familiar voice as Naruto froze in awe as he saw who had stepped off the boat. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto finally said as he saw his old teacher standing before him. Kakashi gently smiled under his mask as he was glad to see his once missing student standing before him and said, Hey there, Naruto, long time no see. Beach City, Fish Stew Pizza. Naruto, the Crystal Gems, and the Konoha Shinobi were at Fish Stew Pizza to have a meal before leaving Beach City, at the insistence of both Ino and Choji. This food is amazing! Choji cheered as he ate another slice of the pepperoni and cheese pizza that was brought to his team's table. Thanks, said Kiki with a smile on her face as she sent a wink towards Choji. I'm really glad that you like it. You should have seen Sunny when he had his first pizza. I'd never seen anyone chug an entire jug of soda like he had. I'm kind of glad to meet a few of his friends. As Kiki was sitting and talking with Team Asuma, Kakashi was sitting at the same table as Naruto and the Gems with an awkward tension in the air. Both Naruto and Kakashi were trying to find something to talk about without bringing up any bad memories. Naruto wanted to ask Kakashi about Sakura and Sasuke defecting, but he really didn't want to talk about either of them despite wanting to know about his old team. Kakashi wanted to ask the blonde about how the past few years had treated him, but he wasn't sure what to ask first as a few years could drastically change a person in such a short time. So Naruto, Kakashi began as he tried to break the tension. You said that Garnet-san is your mother? The blonde nodded and said, That's right, my name's Naruto Gem now. Mom has taught me so much, my gem heritage, how to use my powers, and even how to be a leader. Impressive, Kakashi said as he felt a pang of regret as all he had done was teach Naruto how to climb a tree and about getting a better diet. Your father would be proud of you. The Jonin then looked at Garnet and said, I really have to thank you for everything you've done for Naruto. I know that he can be a handful at times, but Naruto never had an easy life considering. Of course, Naruto can be an annoying brat, Garnet calmly said as she then smiled. But he's my annoying brat, and I love my son with all my heart. Kakashi gently smiled as Garnet gave Naruto a kiss on his forehead and thought, I'm sure that Kushina-san would be very happy for you, Naruto, for finding a wonderful mother in Garnet. Kakashi then saw Choji running outside with a complete red face while Amethyst was on the floor laughing and mentioned something called fire salts. I am happy for you as well to find such great friends as well. Otoge-cure. Orochimaru was in his office since he still had to keep his little side project going, as even he had to deal with the cursed paperwork. Although he could have Kabuto watch his village for him, he thought that it would be best to be present at his own village to keep moral to those who had moved into Otoge-cure through their own volition. The door suddenly opened to reveal Kabuto as the young man seemed rushed for some reason. "Pardon the intrusion, Lord Orochimaru," Kabuto said as he quickly kneeled towards the snake Sannin. "But we have a visitor, one that you have to see, my lord." "Bring him in," Orochimaru ordered as a young man with skin slightly less paler than his own, long green hair with red highlights that almost looked like veins. And his eyes were similar to that of Kakuzu's but inverted, as the individual's eyes were red like the Uchiha clan's Sharingan, walked in with a cane that had a large red and green gemstone at the pommel. The young man was wearing black shinobi pants, dark blue shinobi sandals, and a long-sleeved black shirt similar to what Kimimaro once wore that was opened at the front just enough to reveal the gemstone that Orochimaru had once seen 3 years ago. "Greetings, Orochimaru," said the young man with a cool voice. "I haven't seen you since you helped Danzo with giving me my new power." "Sasuke?" Orochimaru said with pure and utter shock in his voice. "How is this possible? I saw you die. What you saw on that day was a part of the power that was given to me by this gemstone," Sasuke said as the gemstone heart glowed in a smooth rhythm similar to a heartbeat. "I can regenerate a new body should this one become too damaged, and I possess an increased healing rate." After running a hand through his hair, Sasuke then said, "My appearance is mostly because of the gemstone once belonged to a powerful warrior, but because his spirit was separated for so long, his previous body couldn't be reformed. So mine was altered as it was appropriate, as once Itachi was slain by my hands, the Uchiha clan will be no more, as I am Sasuke Kyuketsuki." "Well then, Kyuketsuki-san," Orochimaru said as he studied Sasuke's look with an evil smirk. "Allow me to properly welcome you to Otoge-cure." Beach City, Crystal Temple. The Crystal Gems and the Konoha ninja were walking back to the temple at the insistence of Garnet and Ino. Garnet had mentioned that a mission had appeared that required some attention. "So what's the mission, Garnet-san?" Choji asked, as the mission was just a spur of the moment. "There's trouble at Rose's Spring," Garnet said, getting a shocked gasp from the other gems save for Lapis. "We have to go now," Pearl said with great urgency. "If anything happens to Rose's Spring, we're done for." "What's so important about a spring?" Shikamaru asked. "I'm sure that there are thousands of other springs for someone to claim." "Actually, this spring has the same healing powers that Rose Quartz, Steven's mother, possesses," Naruto said with seriousness. "Although Steven has those same powers, his healing isn't reliable at times, even though it is incredibly powerful, and it's also gross considering that it's spit." "Ew." Ino whined as a shiver ran up her spine at the image of someone licking her injuries like that. "Sorry about the detour in your mission," said Steven before Kakashi chuckled. "Don't worry, because we're going to help," the cycloptic Jonin said to the shock of everyone. "We are?" Shikamaru asked as he saw Kakashi's look. "Troublesome, but if this spring is really as powerful as you say, then we should probably help." "You guys sure?" Naruto asked as he remembered the last time they had to go there. "We had to fight a bunch of bramble just to unclog it. We were really cutting it close since Amethyst Gem was cracked." "Amethyst Gem was cracked?" Ino asked with confusion. "I'm sure you could have taken her to a jewelry store to have it repaired or something." "It's not that easy to just repair a gem like that," Naruto said as he and the gems approached the warp pad. "Now hurry up, as we don't have much time." The Konoha ninja followed, and as they got on the pad before everyone vanished in a bright light. Rose's Spring. The warp pad glowed as the crystal gems and the Konoha ninja appeared with the ninja, save for Naruto and the two Jonin, to stumble off. "Don't worry," Naruto said as he and the others helped Team 10 get onto their feet. "You get used to it." After shaking the cobwebs out of their heads, the three Chunin looked to see the entire place covered in brambles that had sharp thorns. The branches also seemed to move around as if it was weakened or in distress. "Be on guard," Garnet said as she brought her fists up as everyone following her example. A screech echoed as a large green bat-like creature with a lone ruby gemstone acting as its eye and a tuft of light blue fur surrounding its neck. In its teeth were a bunch of brambles that were covered in the creature's saliva before the bat swallowed them. "What is that thing?" Ino shouted out as the bat creature spread its wings and lifted itself up into the air. "Trouble!" Naruto said as his gems started to glow. "Gem style, hooking claw!" A golden kunai attached to a golden chain shot out of the gemstone as Naruto shot his fist forwards. The kunai opened up to reveal that it was a barbed claw before digging itself into the creature's belly as it flew into the air. "No, you don't!" Naruto said as he wrapped the arm that the chain was attached to with the chains a few times before grabbing the chain with his other arm and began pulling. "Get down here!" "Partial expansion jutsu!" Choji roared out as his arms grew to a massive size before grabbing the chain and giving it a mighty yank, making the bat creature slam into the ground. "Nice one!" Amethyst said with a great cheer before the dust settled to reveal the bat creature was still standing. The creature let out a screech as everyone covered their ears while the bramble moved around until they formed human-like creatures. Once the bat-like creature stopped, everyone looked to find themselves surrounded by the bramble creatures that were ready for a fight. "That winged screech is using the bramble to fight us," Pearl said as she summoned her spear. "We need to take it down!" The other crystal gems summoned their weapons with Lapis summoning her water wings while the ninja brought out their kunai knives before charging through the army. Garnet dove into a few of them and began to pummel a few of the bramble creatures, but saw that they were able to easily repair themselves before changing their hands to mimic Garnet's gauntlets. Naruto was fighting a few bramble creatures that had somehow mimicked his claws and attacking him furiously, making the blonde jump back. "Watch it, you guys!" Naruto called out as he observed his damaged gauntlets. "These things can mimic our weapons and they're really strong too!" "Guys!" Steven called out as he held his shield up to protect himself from a few bramble creatures that had turned their arms into spiked clubs. The creatures continued their attack until they froze and went into a weird pose, courtesy of Shikamaru as his shadow was stretched out and was connected to the bramble creatures. "Shadow possession complete," Shikamaru said with a smirk. "Now Choji!" "Human boulder!" Choji roared as his body was now a giant sphere before the Akamichi bowled into the creatures at a high speed before returning to his original shape as he had briars sticking into his body. "Ow! Ow! Ow!" "Steven!" Naruto called out as he tossed the rolled-up scroll towards said person. "Catch!" Steven ran by the bramble monsters while bashing a few of them to the side before catching the scroll. "Good job!" Naruto said before quickly slashing a few of monsters with his claws. "Unroll it and add chakra to it." Kakashi quickly dashed towards Steven while slicing the bramble monsters with his kunai as he said, "I'll hold them off while you get whatever that is ready." Steven nodded as he unrolled the scroll to reveal 3 matching writings and applied chakra to the writing, causing 3 plumes of smoke to explode from the paper. The smoke soon cleared to reveal 3 humanoid creatures that looked like Steven, with the major difference was that the small creatures looked like watermelons. "Are those the watermelons that Steven grew?" Pearl asked as she dodged a few thrusts from the spears the bramble monster had created. "I thought they all left." "I sealed some of them before the whole fight started," Naruto said as he blocked an attack from one of the bramble monsters that tore a few of the spikes off. "Where did you learn how to seal?" Ino asked as she slashed a few of the bramble monsters with her tanto. "Fight now, answer questions later," Amethyst roared out as she used her whip to grab a nearby boulder before smashing a couple of bramble monsters with it. The Steven melons saw the bramble monsters going to attack Steven, and the Steven melons hissed threateningly before jumping towards the bramble monsters into a tackle. Despite their small stature, the Steven melons were able to throw the bramble monsters while protecting Steven before one of the bramble monsters had smashed one of them into a mess of watermelon bits. "We need to do something," Pearl said before she saw Naruto get thrown into the wall of brambles. "Naruto!" Naruto got to his feet, but the vines on the walls had somehow grabbed him by his arms and legs before pulling him into the wall. "Damn it!" Naruto thought as he had to bite back a scream of pain as the thorns dug into his body. "These things are stubborn. Guess I need to borrow your power." "All right," said Kurama from inside Naruto's mind. "Just don't go overboard." The Konoha ninja felt an ominous aura and looked to see Naruto slowly being covered by a bubbling red cloak of chakra as Kakashi and Asuma knew this feeling all too well. No! Kakashi thought in horror as he remembered how Naruto had tapped into the Kyuubi's power back during the mission in Nami. He's tapping into the Kyuubi's chakra. Feeling the ominous aura, the Chunin of Team 10 looked from their positions to see the vines that bound Naruto burn away from the cloak, freeing the blonde from the wall and allowing him to shake the thorns off. This is the same power he used during his match against Neji. Ino and Choji thought as they remembered that match clearly, such insane power. Naruto lowered himself onto all fours as his red eyes shone with bloodlust, while his whisker marks became more curved and threatening. "Hope you're ready to be ripped apart, you filthy weeds!" Naruto roared out before he dashed towards them and began to slash them apart, mercilessly. Garnet saw the look on Kakashi's face and said, "Don't worry, Kakashi, Naruto and Kurama has come to an agreement that the fox would only give Naruto a certain amount of power that Naruto has earned. Even though it's only a last resort in situations like this." "He's used it before?" Kakashi asked with shock in his voice. "Has he ever lost control?" Garnet was silent until she said, "Only once, and that was enough for Kurama to place a limit on not just how much, but how long the power would last." After destroying a large majority of the bramble monsters, Naruto looked at the bat creature as it was eating some of the bramble that made up the wall. "I don't think so!" Naruto roared out as he dashed towards the monster and leapt into the air while forming a Rasengan in his hand. "Vermilion Rasengan!" Naruto was able to slam the Kyuubi-enhanced Rasengan into the bat monster as the creature was slammed into the wall before the sphere erupted into a powerful blast that unintentionally destroyed a portion of the wall. Naruto landed on his feet as a large, fist-sized ruby fell onto the ground that signaled the monster's defeat. Everyone watched with amazement as the chakra cloak vanished while Naruto's features returned to normal before the blonde picked up the gemstone. "You were a lot of trouble, you know that?" Naruto said as he encased the gem in a golden bubble before pressing on it to make it vanish. The bramble monsters returned to their vine forms as they were no longer in control of the bat creature while Naruto fell onto one knee. "Naruto!" said Ino as she and everyone else rushed to his side. "Are you alright?" "Yeah," Naruto said as Pearl and Shikamaru helped him onto his feet. "Using Kurama's chakra always take a lot out of me, so I only use it unless absolute necessary." "Come on," said Garnet as she approached the entrance in the wall of barbed vines. "We need to check on the spring." Everyone followed Garnet through the vines while Pearl helped Naruto walk with Shikamaru walking nearby. "Damn Naruto," the Nara said with an amused smirk. "I knew that you were strong thanks to the Kyuubi, but never would I have imagined such a power." Naruto chuckled as he said, "As powerful as it is, I really can't use it for really long, as Kurama explained that demon chakra is insanely powerful and only those who can handle such a power can use it. I'm just lucky that I'm an Uzumaki and a crystal gem, but even with those two advantages, I tear my body up depending on how much I use, and I risk becoming corrupted by it the longer I use it until I'm completely taken over. So the Kyuubi's power, or more correctly Abija's power, is a double-edged sword," Shikamaru commented as everyone continued to travel through the opening. "While it's strong enough to wipe out armies, you rip your body to shreds and slowly lose your mind at the same time." After receiving a nod from Naruto, the Nara could only shake his head in slight amazement as this was just typical Naruto. Ino saw that only one of the Steven melons had survived as it was sticking very close to Steven before she walked next to Amethyst and asked, "So what's with the watermelon and why does it look like Steven?" "Well," Amethyst started as she remembered that crazy day. "Steven's mom had the ability to grow sentient plant life that acted as her protectors. Steven discovered his after having a watermelon seed spitting contest with his old man. There were so many of those little guys." "You said that Steven's mom could create plant life?" Asuma asked as he got a nod from the purple gem. "Almost sounds like the Shodame's Mokutan, a bloodline that allows the possessor to create plant life to use in jutsus. From clones, to trees, to even an entire village, the Mokutan was a powerful and most sought-after bloodline, as it could even hold the power of Abija." "Sounds crazy," Amethyst said with an amazed smile. "I'm not sure if Steven or Rose could do any of that stuff, but it does sound pretty sweet. So why is that one protective over Steven? Choji asked as he saw how vigilant it was. As I've mentioned, Amethyst said as she moved a bang of hair out of her face. Rose and Steven's plants are their protectors, so if anything is a threat to Steven, the plants will start attacking relentlessly until the threat's taken care of. We even had to fight them ourselves and we had difficulties with just how many there were. The sound of munch made Amethyst and Ino look to see Choji holding a busted Steven melon, while juices were dripping from the Akamichi's fingers and mouth. Seeing the disgusted looks on Ino's and Amethyst's faces, Choji blinked and asked, "What? You want some?" Before Ino could voice her disgust, everyone stopped to see a giant fountain that stood in the middle of the room they were in. The fountain had a statue of a woman with large curly hair and a star-shaped cutout on the stomach of her dress as water was pouring from the statue's closed eyes, giving it the appearance that it was crying. "Wow," Ino said in amazement as she completely forgot her disgust. "This fountain's amazing!" Garnet looked around until she motioned for everyone to follow her towards the fountain. "The fountain's working properly from what I can see," Pearl said after letting Naruto go as the blonde regained enough energy to easily walk on his 2 feet. "Maybe it was just that monster threatening the statue." Kakashi approached the fountain and kneeled to examine the water before looking at the cut on his arm. The Jonin cupped his hand and placed it in the fountain before pulling out some of the water. "How does this work again?" Kakashi asked as the water was slowly draining from his hand. "Just apply it on the wound," Garnet answered as she applied some of the water on her injured leg. Everyone watched in fascination as the gash on the woman's leg had closed up until it looked like it wasn't even marred. Kakashi soon followed Garnet's example and lathered the water on his wound and watched as his injury vanished while noticing the slight stinging twitch as the wound closed. "So do we just take a bath?" Ino asked as she looked at the guys with a slight uncomfortable look. "Not really," said Naruto as he pulled out a small rag and dunked it in the water. "Just get some of the water and apply like so, or just jump in real quick." Setting down the busted Steven melon, Choji quickly got to the edge of the fountain before removing his heavy armor plate and jumped in. The Akamichi reached the surface and pulled himself out as he felt his wounds from the briars close up. "I bet Tsunade would love to visit this place," Asuma said as applied the water on his shoulder. "She'd probably bathe in it herself in hopes of it restoring her youth. I've even tempted to drink it to see if it'll restore my lungs back to how they were before." "They wouldn't be like that if you didn't smoke all the time," Ino said as she crossed her arms. "Then again, you'd probably keep smoking even after this spring heals your lungs." Asuma sighed as he said, "Just like Kurenai." Noticing Pearl collecting some of the water in small vials, Kakashi asked, "What are you doing?" After placing the water-filled vials in a medical kit before sealing it in a scroll, Pearl said, "I'm just collecting some of the water should we ever need it. There are times where we need to take care of some of our major injuries considering both Naruto and Steven aren't full-blooded gems. But even if we run out, we can still have Steven use his powers to heal us if needed. But even that's on a chance," Naruto said as he took a small drink from the fountain. "Even with some of the training we have done, Steven's healing powers are still kind of a flip of a coin. It either works, or it doesn't." Once everyone was healed up by the spring, they saw no need to stay any longer since Garnet couldn't foresee any oncoming threats and headed back towards the temple without any event. Beach City, Crystal Temple. Night has fallen at the temple and everyone was asleep. Well, almost everyone. Kakashi was sitting on his sleeping bag as he was reading the latest Ika while keeping his giggles quietly. Hearing the sound of the door into the temple opening, Kakashi quickly lay down to feign sleep as the sounds of footsteps quietly traveled before Naruto was seen landing at the door leading towards the beach. "What's Naruto doing up this late at night?" Kakashi asked himself as he noticed the guitar in his hand. "I should see what he's up to." Kakashi carefully and skillfully followed Naruto until the blonde had made it to the top of the hill that the temple resided in and sat on the smooth part of the statue's head. "What is he doing?" Kakashi thought to himself as he then heard the sound of guitar strings being plucked as Naruto adjusted the knobs on the guitar's head. "Hope you're ready for this song, my friend," Naruto sadly said as he caressed the smooth stone of the statue's head. Because it could possibly be the last one I sing to you. Kakashi carefully edged closer as Naruto played 3 notes in a smooth and repeated melody as the blonde soon began to sing. Summer has come and passed. The innocent can never last. Wake me up when September ends, like my father's come to pass. 7 years has gone so fast. Wake me up when September ends. Here comes the rain again, falling from the stars, drenched in my pain again, becoming who we are, as my memory rests, but never forgets what I lost. Wake me up when September ends. Kakashi could feel the melancholy from Naruto's voice as the blonde before him played the guitar, as if gathering his woeful thoughts. The Jonin felt a sting of guilt as he knew that he wasn't the best nor had helped Team 7 really get along, as even though their teamwork was amazing, they hardly socialized nicely with each other. I bet those years away from Konoha felt like freedom for you, Kakashi thought as it pained him to see such a bright spirit like Naruto look and sound broken. We just had to rein into your life and bring back that pain you wished to forget. Waking up to the sound of music, Ino looked around to find Kakashi missing from his spot on the floor. Where's that music coming from? Ino quietly asked herself as she carefully got off the couch. I'd like to know that myself, Shikamaru said softer than his normal tone. It's troublesome, but it sounds mournful, like someone had just died. Nodding to each other, Shikamaru and Ino carefully stepped out of the beach to hear that the music was coming from above them. Over there, said Ino as she pointed to the top of the statue. Is that Naruto? Looking closely, Shikamaru saw that it was Naruto as the blonde was playing a guitar and looking out towards the moon that shone over the ocean. Summer has come and passed. The innocent can never last. Wake me up when September ends. Ring out the bells again, like we did in spring. Wake me up when September ends. Here comes the rain again, falling from the stars, drenched in my pain again, becoming who we are, as my memory rests, but never forgets what I lost. Wake me up when September ends. Small tears slowly rolled from Ino's cheeks as she choked out a sob at just how meaningful the song sounded. Shikamaru held his tears back as it sounded like Naruto was singing his pain away. The young boy had to think back at all the times Naruto was happy and had that face-splitting smile plastered on his face practically 24/7. I wonder if he's been holding back his pain all those years, Shikamaru thought as the melancholic song had somehow repainted those memories of Naruto as a depressed individual with a constant rain cloud hovering over his head that hid his tears every time the cloud had let loose some rain. But then again, the life of a Jinchuriki means you're either a weapon or just given a life that no one could possibly live through without sacrificing their sanity. The two then saw Pearl quietly exit the small house before shape-shifting into the form of a small dove and flew up towards Naruto. Pearl landed on Naruto's shoulder and nuzzled up against the blonde's whiskered cheek while Naruto decided to wrap the song up as it was getting late. Summer has come and passed. The innocent can never last. Wake me up when September ends, like my father's come and pass. 20 years has gone so fast. Wake me up when September ends. Wake me up when September ends. Wake me up when September ends. Naruto let the last note echo through the night air as Pearl's shape shifted back into her normal form, sitting next to the blonde while resting her head on the boy's shoulder. I couldn't sleep as we're heading back to Konoha tomorrow, Naruto said as he leaned his head against Pearl's. I can only imagine just how everyone there will treat us. Everything will be alright, Naruto, Pearl said as she and Naruto then looked into each other's eyes. We will be there for you as we love you so deeply in our own special way. The two went into a kiss as the moonlight shone beautifully upon their skin before they both separated. I love you, Pearlheim, Naruto said with a loving smirk. I love you too, my handsome rogue, Pearl said as they both lied on the smooth stone and stared off into the stars, unaware of Kakashi sending them a proud smile. I'm proud at how much you have grown, Kakashi thought as he allowed himself to shed a small tear. You have become a fine young man and I wish I could have watched you grow up. Nami, village. Naruto had stepped onto the docks of Nami as the trip over the sea took a few days and felt even longer considering everyone had to deal with Choji's seasickness. The blonde was surprised to see that the near rundown village was now an impressive place from when he had last seen it. I can't believe this, Naruto said in shock as the crystal gems and the Konoha ninja had stepped onto the dock before Yellowtail left. Is this really Nami? Indeed it is Naruto, Kakashi answered as he stood next to said blonde. With the money they recovered from Gato, they were able to rebuild their home into what you see today and then some, as this place has been known as the Village of Sailors. Naruto? Said a familiar voice as everyone turned to see a middle-aged man and a young boy next to him. Well, it is you. Tazuna. Inari. Naruto said as the young boy ran up to him and gave the blonde a hug. How are you guys doing? We've been doing great ever since you freed us from Gato's cruelty, Inari said with a big smile. Everything was possible all because of you, Naruto. This place is amazing, said Pearl as she approached Naruto while looking at the buildings. I can't believe that this was really run down before. Inari looked to see Pearl and the other gems approaching Naruto as the blonde then said, Inari, I'd like you to meet my family, my girlfriend Pearl, my Nei-chan Amethyst, my Otoro Steven, my mother Garnet, and my friend Lapis Lazuli. Inari bowed as Garnet then said, Since we are in your home country and considering your status, we should probably start moving. Yeah, Naruto said sadly as he wanted to stay a while. But before we do that, I would like to go visit a friend. The group traveled through the village as the many citizens waved in Naruto's direction and giving him their many praises. Looks like we got ourselves a big celebrity here, Amethyst joked as she saw the attention Naruto was getting. I can't wait to see your friend. Naruto remained silent as the group eventually found a small forest where 2 grave markers stood with large holes in front of them. No, Naruto said with pure horror in his eyes as he rushed towards the disturbed graves with the others following him. These were the graves of Zabuza, Momochi, and Haku, Kakashi said as Naruto stared at the grave markers in silence. They were the first real opposition that the team had faced outside of Konohagakure, and it was thanks to Haku that Naruto learned about getting strong and having true strength. But who would disturb them like this? Shock and slight anger caused Lapis to think back to when she had arrived back on her home planet. She saw nothing but destruction and gems shattered beyond any form of repair. It was painful to see as the monsters that were once her friends and colleagues rampaging about, and none of the sages were around to do anything as they were all destroyed. It felt just like yesterday when she learned of what happened. Flashback. Gem Homeworld. Lapis ran into the Grand Temple where the sages are usually seen and tried to make her way into the council chambers. Maybe one of the sages can help me, Lapis thought as she was getting desperate after seeing the state of her home world and possibly having them look into the traitors that have abandoned their home in favor of Earth. They just have to. She finally stopped to see the gigantic doors that lead into the council chambers, and she honestly felt intimidated about just bursting in as no one but the sages alone could enter unless summoned for a reason. The blue gem felt her heart jump into her throat without mercy as she could only imagine just what would happen if she bothered the sages, but quickly swallowed her fear as she placed a hand in preparation to open the door before. Kare boom! Gah! Lapis cried out as the doors had exploded and sent her flying into a nearby column. Quickly changing her hands into mirrors, Lapis quickly checked her gem to find that it was still okay despite a slight scuff mark. A loud, echoing roar alerted the gem to see that from where the doors once stood was a terrible beast in the form of a dragon skeleton that was black as the darkest midnight with wings made of sparkling, silk-like fibers, and its exposed heart was beating in an ominous rhythm as white flames escaped the beast's mouth. Its empty eye sockets had paralyzed Lapis to her very core as she shivered in absolute terror and fright. It's, Lapis said as she stared at it with pure fear as she had never thought that she would see one this close. It's a midnight bone dragon. What's one doing in the council chambers? Her question wasn't answered as she saw the monster lunge towards her before Lapis shape-shifted into a snake and slithered into the council chambers. The skeletal beast roared and peered inside in order to find its prey that was hidden under a seat of one of the most well-known sage, Amber. Another roar was heard before the thunderous sound of beating wings fading away in the distance was heard before Lapis decided to take a risk and peek out from the seat to find that she was alone again, for the moment. "Thank the sages, that was too close," Lapis whispered as quietly as she could before carefully looking around. "Now to find out what's going on." Lapis slithered around to find any form of clues about what has happened while she was sealed away in that horrid prison. She continued on as she found destroyed furniture, columns, and the occasional irreparable gem shard of what she could only guess was either once one of the other gems or, heavens forbid, a sage. It was a horrible sight, but she just had to know what had happened. "The ancient library," Lapis said with hope as she approached a library hidden in the back of the council chambers. "Maybe there's something there." After quickly slithering in, Lapis changed back to her human form before staring ahead with a haunted look as her eyes were scarred at the sight before her. The once revered library was now filled with nothing but smoldering ash as holes were burned into the walls and floor, books that contained information on all of the known planets and systems, and even her species' history, all destroyed. "Damn that dragon!" Lapis roared out in pure anger before clasping her mouth shut as her voice echoed throughout the temple. She remained still and quiet for a few moments before taking a chance that she was safe and exploring what was left of the library. She tried to sweep a pile of ash to see if anything might have survived, but she quickly brought it back to herself as she was burned badly by the contact. She held back a curse as she should have known that anything burned by a midnight bone dragon is rumored to be hot enough to even damage a star. Lapis held her injured hand and continued to look until she found a pile of paper that didn't even look slightly singed save a few spots. She was about to rush towards it before stopping herself, as who knows just what could have accessed this once beloved library. She created a copy of Pearl and had it approach the pile and gather up the sheets of paper before handing them to her. The Pearl copy vanished as Lapis read what was on the paper, as she discovered that it was written by one of the sages as the notes were recounting what had happened. Her skin began to pale as she scanned the sheets. Apparently there was something that was causing gems to become corrupted and transform into monsters of old. The sages had summoned Rose Quartz, Amber's apprentice, and in order to try and protect a few gems of her choice. Rose's choices were garnet, amethyst, pearl, and a fourth gem whose name had somehow been burned out, and they were sent to Earth, a small backwater planet that had very little mystical energies save for a small place that was apparently protected by something. Rose and her team had left in hopes of not just protecting what remaining gems were left, but to find a way to restore the other gems back to normal. The notes then began to reveal that some of the monsters had followed Rose's team through the warp pad before it was destroyed by one of the sages before he fell to whatever was corrupting the gems. That small part had frightened Lapis, as if even a sage was vulnerable to whatever this was. Then how could Rose Quartz possibly possess a chance of restoring them? Lapis continued to examine the notes, as they revealed that the gems, even the sages themselves, who haven't been corrupted yet, were being killed and destroyed by the beasts until two of the most powerful sages were attacked right at the end of their fusion, which had resulted in. "No!" Lapis gasped as she dropped the papers, as the sudden realization caused her to stumble back a bit. "Lord Onyx and Lady Diamond, they're the Midnight Bone Dragon." Lapis curled up into her knees as tears fell from her face, as those two were the most powerful sages, even stronger than Amber and Green Jasper before he became Bloodstone, and they were now some mindless beast. She always wanted to be as strong as them, and even become a sage alongside them, or even have them teach her like Amber had done with Rose Quartz. She had always dreamed of it since she saw them in action so long ago, as their power alone was once awe-inspiring. Now that was impossible. Looking at the papers again, Lapis looked to see that there was a small prayer for Rose's team in hopes of their success and their safety. Under Rose's name were the names of those she had chosen to take with her, until she saw that the fourth gem's name was still there, as her eyes widened at the revelation. She's that fourth gem. Looking around at the destroyed library, Lapis sat on the floor in lamentation at what was revealed to her. She couldn't remember anything, as the last memory were other gems sealing her into that prison, as their faces were blurred while the sounds of crying echoed in her mind. She could never remember just who had sealed her, nor could she remember the crying person, with her only clue was that it was a woman. Running a hand over her face, Lapis then said, "Guess I have some thinking to do." Flashback end. Nami, Great Naruto Bridge. "Lapis?" asked Steven as his voice snapped Lapis out of her thoughts. "Lapis, are you alright?" Letting out a sigh, the blue gem smiled and said, "Yeah, I'm alright." "Alright, just wanted to ask you since we're heading out towards Konoha," Steven said with a smile as the others were ahead of them with Pearl and Kakashi with Naruto in hopes of comforting the young boy. "I can't wait to meet more of Naruto's friends." Lapis followed the boy as she began to think about what more she was missing, as she wondered why she doesn't even remember Rose Quartz or going with her. "Hopefully I'll remember more over time," Lapis hopefully thought as she walked next to Steven while the group traveled down the road the Konoha ninja were leading them. Away from the group, a set of beady eyes were watching them with a chuckle in its voice. "Time to set the trap," the voice chuckled before quickly vanishing out of sight. Road. Everyone traveled down the road before Kakashi saw an unfamiliar fork in the road. "I don't remember this here before," the cycloptic Jonin said as he led the others down the new road before slowing down to let Asuma lead the group, while he pulled out a familiar orange book that was obviously worn with use. "Why are you reading that?" Pearl asked with slight disgust in her voice. "He just does it time," Naruto commented before he saw just how worn the book was. "I'm surprised with how much he read that one, as Mom has the latest one. I've already finished this book, but I read it again and again as there is just so much drama that you somehow find a different fork in the road," Kakashi casually said as Asum narrowed his eyes as he caught the message. "While I am a fan of the series," Garnet said as she too had caught the message, "I do not read it out in public like that." "Everyone get down!" Shikamaru roared as everyone dove to the ground as the trees to their right suddenly fell deeper into the forest. "Kai!" Kakashi quickly said as he formed a seal to reveal that they were in a forest with two familiar figures standing before them. Well, well, well," said Kisame as he looked at the group, more specifically at Naruto. "Seems like the fox brat has finally returned, huh, Itachi? And he is not alone either," Itachi stoically said until he raised an eyebrow towards Lapis. "I never knew you had a daughter, Kisame. I've always thought of you as a bloodthirsty killer." "I don't have a daughter," Kisame said as he looked at the blue girl with slight agitation. "Let's just grab the QB and get out of here." "Not on our watch," said Garnet as she, Pearl, and Amethyst summoned their weapons while Lapis had her wings appear from her gem. "Protect Naruto and the crystal gems," Kakashi said as he and the other Konoha ninja quickly got into a battle stances before Kisame charged in for the attack with Itachi staying in the back. The former Kiri ninja gave the weapon on his back a mighty swing as both the ninjas and the gems jumped to the side to avoid the attack, with Pearl holding Steven under her arm. "Stay here," Pearl said as Steven was about to argue when he saw Itachi behind Pearl. "Look out!" the young boy cried out as he pulled the gem's shirt to get her away from Itachi before the former Konoha ninja took in a breath. "Fire style, Grand Fireball Jutsu," Itachi said as he blew out a stream of fire that collided into Steven. "Steven!" everyone cried out before Amethyst rushed towards Itachi with her whip ready, but was stopped as the rogue ninja grabbed her arm and broke Amethyst's wrist before lifting her up by her throat. "This is what you and your friends are dealing with when you get in our way," Itachi said as he held his eyes closed before opening them to reveal his Mangekyo Sharingan. "Tsukuyami!" "Amethyst!" "No!" Naruto called out as he had seen what Itachi's special genjutsu can do to people. Itachi stared intently at Amethyst before sensing an attack from behind and quickly summoned a clone to block an attack from Steven, who was wielding a pink shield. "How did you survive that attack?" the Itachi clone asked as he kept his grip on the kunai. "I have the powers of a crystal gem," Steven said as he tried to push the Itachi clone away. "Now let Amethyst go!" The original Itachi continued to stare at Amethyst when the purple gem said, "I'm not sure what you're trying to do, but you can't hurt anyone with that fancy eye trick." Taken aback by the sudden glow, the original Itachi then saw a huge figure with purple skin and white hair on its chest with a small purple amethyst poking out, wearing a black leotard. The figure pulled back a fist and went to punch the original Itachi, but missed as both Itachis were just clones. "Damn it, he tricked us," the figure said with Amethyst's voice before looking at Steven. "You alright, little buddy?" "I'm alright, Amethyst," said Steven as he dusted himself off. "Just a few small burns, nothing serious." Amethyst looked to see Pearl, Lapis, and Naruto fighting off multiple Itachis while the Konoha ninja and Garnet were fighting off Kisame, who had a few of the wrappings on the weapon removed to reveal jagged blue spikes similar to the spikes on Naruto's claws. "I'm going to help the others, Steven," Amethyst said as she returned back to her previous form. "I know you want to help, but these two are pretty serious. I'm not sure what that one guy was doing, but with how Naruto sounded when he saw that Itachi guy look at me, it wouldn't have been good." Steven looked to see that the group of Itachis were gaining an advantage over the other gems and Naruto, as Garnet was fighting off 3 Itachis at the same time while Naruto was fighting just 2. "Alright," Steven said as he knew that it wouldn't be a good idea considering just how difficult the two were. "Just don't get hurt too badly." "Don't worry, I'll be fine," Amethyst said gently before jumping into the fray of Itachis with her whip flying about, hitting one Itachi after another. Naruto was having a difficult time handling the 2 Itachis that were fighting him, as both of them would move around to dodge the blonde's attacks. "So you possess the same power as your friends," one of the Itachis had said as he observed Naruto's claws. "How did you acquire this power?" the other Itachi asked as he and his double stared down Naruto at the same time. "I've had this power since the Uzumaki clan was founded by my ancestor, Amber," Naruto said as he flexed his clawed fingers. "Who also happens to be a crystal gem that once defeated a rogue gem by the name of Bloodstone." "So she defeated Bloodstone before," one of the Itachis said before he formed a seal. "Ninja art, shield of murder!" The other Itachi soon exploded into an innumerable number of crows that formed a dome over Naruto and Itachi. "Naruto!" Pearl cried out as she dashed towards the dome and tried to strike at it, but she bounced off with scratches and stab wounds on her body. Kakashi quickly arrived next to Pearl and said, "Itachi must have separated Naruto from us by using clones and Kisame to keep us busy. We need to get in there. That dome isn't going to be easy to get through," Pearl said as her wounds were slowly healing. "Those crows are incredibly fast and their talons are nothing to scoff at." "Then I guess I have to use my trump card," Kakashi said as he lifted his hitai to reveal a closed eye before forming a seal. "I need some time before I can use it, but I can probably get through to Naruto if I just aim it right." "Hope you know what you're doing," Pearl said as she slashed an Itachi clone that was going towards Kakashi. "Just know that I'm not sure how long I can keep it up until I'm too badly injured." "Duly noted," the Jonin said as he kept focusing his chakra. Inside the dome, Itachi was staring down Naruto as the blonde was waiting for his opponent to move. "I can see that you have gotten stronger," Itachi said stoically. "I wonder if you have become strong enough to defeat Sasuke, since he possesses the power of the one your ancestor had defeated." Naruto's eyes widened at the revelation as he then said, "You mean to tell me?" "Yes, Naruto," Itachi said without missing a beat. "Sasuke is Bloodstone, as he replaced his own heart with a gemstone, which I take is the source of your power." Naruto tried to back away, but the sound of tearing cloth convinced him otherwise. "I wish to ask you a question, Naruto," Itachi calmly said as the blonde looked at him. "How far are you willing to protect Konohagakure?" "Honestly," Naruto began as it seemed he has no choice but to answer Itachi's question, "I'm kind of at a standstill, as I'm only here to protect my real home from both the Akatsuki and Bloodstone. Konoha was never my home, as it felt more like a prison with everyone against me, and I can only trust the few connections I have. While I still have some friends in Konoha, the friends I have at Beach City are far too important for either group to take away as they saw me." Itachi gave the blonde a small hum before he then said, "That is an interesting answer, as you are willing to protect your friends that live in the very village that had given you your own hell on earth, but at the same time, you are willing to turn away from Konohagakure itself for a chance of true happiness." "Not exactly how I'd word it," Naruto admitted with a cringed look. "But I know that the true happiness isn't a chance, as I know it's real, as everyone there see me as who I am, Naruto Gem." "Very well, Gem-san. I just have one more question for you," Itachi said as a lone crow sat on his shoulder. Now that you know that Sasuke possesses the power of Bloodstone, making him a pseudo-crystal gem, what are you going to do? While I am a rogue ninja, I still care about my little brother as I regret how I have pushed him down the path he had chosen, so do answer carefully. Naruto remained silent as from the corner of his eye, he could see small amounts of red, pink, and black through the torrent of crows. Mom must be trying to get to me, Naruto thought as he focused his attention on Itachi. Well? The rogue ninja asked with slight impatience. Naruto let out a sigh as he said, I was hoping that if I were to ever see Sasuke again, I would try and get him to understand that the path he's chosen may lead him to destruction, as I have seen him become more and more obsessed with power before my banishment. After I was told about how Sasuke had fled the village some time after my banishment, I had realized something. The Sasuke I knew, the one that I had seen as not only a rival but a brother as well, had died before our fight at the Valley of the End. He's no longer the cold but compassionate person he once was, as he became this creature wearing Sasuke's face as its own. I don't know what to do, but if the time comes, I will protect Sasuke. You are going to protect Sasuke, or more correctly the creature that calls itself Sasuke? Itachi said with wonder. Looking at how things have been with him, Naruto said with slight pain, I think the only way to protect the real Sasuke that I know at this moment is to kill him. So you are willing to kill Sasuke in order to protect him? Itachi said as he pondered the idea. Yeah, Naruto sadly admitted. Even though the Sasuke I knew had died, his body is still suffering at the hands of that creature. I won't allow him to suffer anymore, and by killing Sasuke, I know that he'll be at peace as he wouldn't be suffering. It'll be hard to do, but if it comes down to it, I'll do what I must for my friend. Itachi was silent as he contemplated on everything that he has learned about his little brother. Sasuke had fallen so far that it would only take nothing short of a pure miracle that not even Kami could comprehend. He has yet to witness Sasuke's new power, but if it's anything like what he has witnessed from studying the other crystal gems, then the worst may be the only option. I am quite surprised with your answer, as I was expecting you to say something along the lines of beating the crap out of him until he wakes up, or even protecting Sasuke from Konoha's wrath, Itachi said as he gently scratched the underside of the crow's beak. But I can see how killing Sasuke may be the only choice to protect him. I shall grant you a small token for entertaining my curiosity. Before Naruto knew it, the surrounding wall of crows soon became a field of cherry blossoms, while 3 crows flew towards him and crashed into his body. Each one of them had stabbed themselves into Naruto's heart, stomach, and down the blonde's throat in a painful manner. Until we meet again, Itachi said as the field of cherry blossoms changed back into the wall of crows before the blonde lost consciousness and fell onto the ground. Naruto Gem. Konohagakure. Naruto was hearing a voice through the darkness as a bright light shone into his slowly opening eyes. Ugh! Naruto groaned as he let his eyes adjust to the light as they opened more. What happened? You and your friends were ambushed by Kisame and Itachi, said a familiar voice as Naruto fully opened his eyes to see Tsunade standing next to him. Your luck seemed to have made the 2 flee in case of reinforcements from Konoha. Bachan? Naruto asked as he wanted to make sure that he wasn't dreaming. Is that really you? Tsunade smiled as she then said, Yes, Naruto. Welcome back to Konohagakure. Chapter end. Tired of watching censored fanfics? Would you like to watch some very naughty, filled with the lemons fanfics without any censorship? I'm happy to announce that I opened Patreon page for you guys, where you could watch Naruto/Deku, 18+ stories without any censoring. Not only that, you can also see the NSFW images of characters of the fics on my Patreon, which I make by myself. So buy your preferred tier and join our community now. Link is in the description.